New CGC shipment in. Let's go. All right, guys, I'm Brad. Got a new shipment in from CGC. Super stoked about it. I have lots of shipments on the way. Lots of shipments here. Going to be doing a reveal video for every single one of them. I think it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to show you guys what I got. A lot of fun to talk about them. And so, with that being said, with quite a few that are going to be on deck here soon, I figured I need to kind of come up with like a consistent formula or almost like a template for how I'm going to present these reveal videos. Because last time I did one, my most recent reveal video I posted, I realized afterwards, man, there were a few really important and good points that I left out and I forgot to mention. So I've kind of put together a rubric or like I said, a template, so to speak, of how I'm going to do these reveal videos. So I'm going to show you the slab, going to talk about what my projection was, because I've projected all of these, going back like a year ago whenever I sent them in. I'm going to talk about some details of the cover, going to go over the pop report, and then we're also going to talk about some sales that have maybe happened with that specific issue. So with that being said, let's jump right in. This is exciting stuff. I've got 5 slabs to share with you from this order. And we are starting off with this one right here. This is from 2004. And this is the Albert Pujols first cover. And it is a CGC 9.2. So very cool here. Okay. I projected. I need to figure out like, hey, where's the best place for me to hold this? You got the computer glare, I got my lamp glare, whatever. All right, maybe that's okay. I projected this at a 9.0, so hey, thrilled with the 9.2. I will take that. I will say, for the most part, try to project pretty conservative because I don't want to let myself down. I don't want to break my heart. But still, once again, I projected these like a year ago. I was also still pretty new in the hobby, didn't really know as much of what I was doing as I do now. So who knows what was going through my mind when I projected a 9.0, but obviously I wasn't too far off coming in at the 9.2. Okay, so let's talk about some details of this cover. Smashing in St. Louis, like I said, this is 2004. October 4th, 2004, you got Albert Pujols there on the cover in Busch Stadium. Looks like they might be playing the Diamondbacks there. Also, you got Ichiro on the cover. Ichiro and Pujols were rookies in the same season. It says 257, Ichiro's record quest. So that was when he was obviously going for most hits in a season, which I think he broke. I think he has that record. I think he broke like George Sisler's record, maybe. I don't know. I haven't thought about that in about 20 years, and I didn't look that up. Kind of speaking off the cuff here, but this is from, like I said, 2004. So the St. Louis Cardinals won 105 games in 2004 this season, and they went to the World Series. In the World Series, they lost. They were actually swept by the Boston Red Sox, and that was the year that the Boston Red Sox broke their curse. They hadn't gone quite as long as the Cubs, but they had gone a really long time without winning World Series, and they broke that streak this year by sweeping the Cardinals in the World Series. That Cardinals team was really good. Pujols, obviously, they had Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland, who just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. They had Edgar Renteria, Ray Langford. Those were some key position players. Their starting rotation was Matt Morris, who was a solid multi-year All-Star, Chris Carpenter, who won a Cy Young a couple years later with the Cardinals. And they had Jason Marquis, Woody Williams, Jeff Suppan, a couple guys that were just pretty solid. So this was Pujols' 4th season in 2004. He, in his first 3 seasons, in each of his first 3 seasons, he finished in the top 4 for MVP voting. Didn't win one, largely thanks to Barry Bonds. And then this season in 04, he finished 3rd, also behind Barry Bonds and Adrian Beltre, I believe. So he's one of only 2 people in MLB history with 3,000 plus hits and 700 home runs. He just finished his career, I think, with 703 home runs. Only him and Hank Aaron have hit 700 home runs and 3,000 hits. This one is in my top 100 covers of all time. I'll be releasing that countdown at some point. First, I got to get through each of the decades. I'm about to put out some of the 2000s. This is pretty high on the top 2000s. Yeah, Cardinals are my favorite team of all time. Pujols is definitely one of my favorite players. So just for me personally, I mean, in general, this is a great cover to have, and it's a good grade. But me personally, it means something special because of how much I like the Cardinals and Albert Pujols. There have only been 19 copies of this Albert Pujols cover graded in newsstand. It's a pop one of two. There are two 9.2s and there are 13 higher. Now, sales, there hasn't been much, but let's see. In September of 2021, so almost 2 years ago, a 9.6 of this issue sold for $595 on eBay. The hobby has grown a lot in just those 2 years. So that 9.6, I would definitely expect to go for more now. In August of 2022, so 9 months ago, a 9.0 sold for $79. I'd buy that all day. I would buy a 9.0 Albert Pujols first cover for $79 all day long. And there are only 19 graded. These things are so hard to find in newsstand. And then a month later, in September of last year, an 8.5 sold for $99. So there has not been any copy of this sold in the last, what is that? Let's see, 8 months. So there hasn't been one sold in the last 8 months. So yeah, love it. Albert Pujols, like I said, big fan of that. All right, moving on. Hope you guys like this format. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this structure. All right, number 2. Pulling out a case here. This is from stupid glare. Okay. Still got a bunch of glare in there. That's okay. This is from 2001. Tiger Woods Masterpiece 9.6. Listen, I wouldn't consider myself a grade snob. A 9.6 is pretty awesome. And I don't think 9.6s get enough respect in this hobby. They need 9.6s need to be cherished a little bit more, in my opinion. But this one's just a little disappointing because I really thought it was going to be a 9.8. Really thought this was going to be a 9.8. I mean, I could not really find a single flaw. And in fact, there's a really good chance I may send this one back. I may repress it. There were no grader's notes, which with 9.6s there often are not. But I might send this one back. I don't see any way how this could get less than a 9.6. There's just nothing wrong with this. I might try it again for a 9.8, but still 9.6 is pretty awesome. So this is Tiger's 11th cover. You know, it's nothing special, not a first or even a second cover. But it's one of his most popular ones with the collectors that I have seen, just because the image, the photography is incredible. This is such a cool cover, masterpiece. Teeing off at the Masters, I got this amazing angle from behind the tee box. You got the crowd all surrounding him. He's kind of in a little tunnel there, and it's just this is a beauty. This is an absolute beauty. This has got to be, just from what I've seen, one of the 5 most desirable Tiger covers. His first cover obviously being number 1, and this would have an argument for number 2, but if not, definitely top 5. It's a beauty. There have been 39 copies of this one graded in newsstand. And let's see here. This is a pop 1 of 5, so there are 5 9.6s, and there are 11 9.8s. So sales, there have been some sales of this. In April of this year, so just 2 months ago, a 9.4 sold for $495. Okay, so that would indicate this one would potentially be a little bit more valuable than that, just based off of that one sale, that one comp. Also, that same month in April, a 9.2 sold for $175. In January of this year, a 9.6 sold for 262 on Heritage. So that's the exact, grade and copy that I have here, and that was only 5 months ago. So who knows? In September of 2022, so a little less than a year ago, a 9.8 of this copy of this issue, a 9.8 of this issue sold for $3,000 on eBay. So it's a pretty cool one. I'm not a huge golf fan, but Tiger Woods is obviously extremely collectible. Like I said, I really love this cover. Really love this cover. And I know I'm not the only one who loves that cover. Okay, number 3 out of 5. I know some of you already recognize this. This is from 1983. This is Michael Jordan's first cover. Don't get too excited. I don't know. Can you see that? A lot of glare going on. I got a bad angle for my camera, but I'm trying to show you this right here. It's a subscription. Okay. It's a subscription. It's a label removed. You really cannot even see it. Okay, there you can this lighting's really bad. You can kind of see the glue strips right there on the thighs of Sam Perkins and Michael Jordan, and going just off of that barcode to the right. So this is a subscription copy. I can't remember because it was so long ago. It was like a year ago that I sent this in. But I'm pretty sure this was one where I bought it off eBay thinking and hoping that it was a newsstand. Got it in raw, saw that it was a subscription with the label removed, but thought to myself, you know what, that label, this label has been removed so well, I couldn't detect it in the pictures from the eBay listing. And I felt like it would still look really, really nice slabbed. So I decided to send it in. And I sent it in with the intent that I would probably sell this because I already have 4 newsstand copies of this issue. My highest is an 8.0. I don't really collect subscription issues. And so since I had already bought it and had it, I didn't want to send it back. I just decided to go ahead and send it in. And I'm thrilled with an 8.5. I mean, this looks nice. To the naked eye, you would have no idea that this is a subscription. It was removed really, really well. And this is one of those few issues that I've talked about where the subscriptions do have some value because people want Michael Jordan's first cover, and the newsstands are so impossible to find. And so second best option is to get a subscription copy. And this is about as good of a subscription copy as you will get because it looks so clean. It looks like a newsstand. So that's why I sent it to CGC. I projected a 7.0. So, wow, really pleased with this one. Once again, I'm conservative on my projections. And also, once again, this was early on in my, venture into this hobby. So I didn't know as much. But to project a 7.0 and to get an 8.5, really happy about that. Let's see. Pop reports at the subscription. So on the subscriptions, well, first off, there have been 102 newsstand copies of this graded. 102. Like I said, I own 4 of them, with an 8.0 being my highest. There are no 9.8s. There is one 9.6. But then as far as the subscriptions go, there are 4 8.5s, 6 9.0s, and 2 9.2s. So there's only 8 higher than this one. It's a pop 104 with 8 higher on the subscription end. So I think that raw copy that I bought was like maybe $150. The one that I had, when I had hoped that it was a newsstand, got it, found out it was a subscription, sent it in, coming back in 8.5. That's a big plus, big bonus there. I'm throwing this up on eBay. Actually, I just threw this up on eBay earlier tonight. I don't know when exactly I'm gonna actually post this unboxing video. A lot of times the videos that I post on my YouTube channel, I may have recorded like a month or two previously. I'll probably post this video still, maybe in a couple weeks, just because I know I've already got 1 or 2 scheduled to come out, and I like to space them out a little bit. So by the time you see this video, there's a good chance that this has already sold on eBay, because I just put it up for auction, started it at 99 cents. It already has like 3 bids as of an hour ago. So this one is going to be sold, and maybe get a little bit of money back to pay for me to send off some other issues to be graded. Like I said, I think I paid like 150. So if I could make that back, and even, if I could sell this for 3 or 400, be really happy with that. But looking at some past sales, let's talk about that real quick. Some past sales, I could potentially sell this for a little more. We'll see. I'm just going to let that auction play out and have some fun with it. We'll see where it goes. But in April of this year, an 8.0 subscription label removed, so very similar to this one, but a half grade lower than mine, sold for 900 on eBay. Also that same month, a 7.0 subscription with a label removed sold for 750. And then in February of 2023, so this year, just a couple 3 months ago, an 8.0 subscription with the label on sold for $1,350. So I'll believe it when I see it, because a lot of times those that sell are buy it nows that people may have had on their eBay store for months and months, until someone finally comes along and happens to buy it. Auctions a lot of times might go for a little bit less. So we'll see what my auction ends up at. Like I said, I'll just be happy if I hit maybe 300 or 400 and make some money back, and get some money that I can use towards sending more of my raw issues into CGC. All right. So there's the MJ. 3 down, 2 to go. Number 4. This is from 2012. And this is Jeremy Lin and his first cover. So Jeremy Lin, he's not going to be a Hall of Fame or anything. I don't even think he was ever an All-Star. But Linsanity was insane. Linsanity was crazy. I projected this at a 9.6. But when I project something in a 9.6, I'm really hoping it's a 9.8. So I hit my projection. This was another one that I really thought had a very, very strong chance at being a 9.8. There's a little bit of like scuffing on the spine. That could be what brought it down. Tough. That's tough. But pretty happy with this. So yeah, Linsanity was crazy. I read through a little bit earlier tonight to remind myself of how crazy it was. And by the way, Kobe's on this cover. Kobe is there trailing Jeremy Lin. So Jeremy Lin was inserted into the starting lineup in 2011. So this is from February 2012. The Knicks then went on a 7-game winning streak. The Knicks had been under 500, having a real bad season. And Jeremy Lin just kind of set the world on fire. I mean, I'm not kidding. This was huge news for about 1 or 2 months. On February 10th, 10 days before this was released, Jeremy Lin scored a career-high 38 points and had 7 assists to lead the Knicks over the Lakers 92-85. So that was obviously what this photo is from. Jeremy Lin had 38 points versus the Lakers, outdueling Kobe, who had 34, and leading the Knicks to a victory over the Lakers. So that was a really big deal. He was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Let's see here, on February 14th, so a few days later, with less than 1 second remaining, he hit a game-winning 3-pointer to beat the Toronto Raptors 90-87. And I was reading that the Lakers were actually watching on TV when Lin hit that buzzer beater, and Meta World Peace, God love him, crazy dude. He goes running out of the locker room, running past reporters, just screaming, "Linsanity, Linsanity, Linsanity," and waving his hands over his head. So I'm telling you, the Linsanity thing was really cool. It was short lived, but it was amazing. He was the first NBA player to score at least 20 points and have 7 assists in each of his first 5 starts. Um, his season ended up ending early because I think he tore his meniscus or something. He had season-ending knee surgery in March. Also, a really cool fact about this is he was on back-to-back Sports Illustrated covers. This was his first cover. He was on the cover again the very next week. He was only the third athlete ever to appear on back-to-back Sports Illustrated covers. Dirk Nowitzki had done it just like a year before, whenever the Mavericks won the NBA championship over the Heat. And then Michael Jordan had done it twice. He actually was on 3 in a row, twice in 1998 and in 1991. He was on the cover 3 times in a row. But Jeremy Lin, how about that? And those were the only 2 covers he ever appeared on, back-to-back weeks. So Pop reports there are 10 copies of this graded in newsstand, and this is one of 5 9.6s, and there are none higher. There are no 9.8. So this is one of the highest copies in the world of the Jeremy Lin first cover. I think that's pretty cool. Only been one sale ever. It was almost 2 years ago in September of 2021. It was a CGC 9.0, sold for a whopping $34. I'd say that's not a very good comp. 2 years ago, hobby's come a long way since then. And that was a 9.0. This is a 9.6. So who knows what the realistic value of this would be? Maybe a couple $100, maybe would be my guess. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think this, yeah, I don't know. Might consider sending that one back in too, but I'll probably keep that one at the 9.6, especially since actually I'll definitely keep this one because it's the highest. There's no 9.8 right. All right, last one. None of these 5 are just like, hey, blow you out of the water value. But this one might be my favorite because it's unique. This is the most unique of the 5. It is not a Sports Illustrated. It's from 1998, and this is Time Magazine, Mark McGwire and Ken Griffey Jr. I think this is a really cool cover. It caricatures of Griffey and Big Mac. It says, "Baseball is back. Home runs are flying. The players are exciting. Even the food is good. And those damn Yankees." Yeah, the 98 Yankees were really good. But 1998, man, was all about that home run chase. I was a young boy, and I remember watching that entire home run chase. Cardinals fan, as I've mentioned. And so Big Mac, yeah, that was a fun summer. I remember sitting in front of my living room TV watching when he hit number 62, and there's just like thousands of light bulb flashes going off all around the stadium because before cell phones, really, before picture phones for sure, and everyone had their little Kodaks. Man, I remember being at the mall one night in 1998. My mom was shopping. I was over in the electronics section. I was in a store called K's Merchandise. I don't know if any of you remember a K's Merchandise. Watching on the big screen, they had the Cardinals game on, and there was a group of people standing around. There was like 5 or 6 people just in K's Merchandise, which was a huge store, like the size of like a J.C. Penney or something. And there's like 5 or 6 people just accumulating there watching McGwire bat in this K's Merchandise. I kid you not, and I don't know why my mom was in K's Merchandise this long. I don't know what in the world we were doing there, what we were looking for. But I promise you, I watched Mark McGwire hit 3 home runs in that game in K's Merchandise. We'll never forget that. All right, so what's interesting about this is it's McGwire and Griffey, right? It's not McGwire and Sosa. We know that McGwire and Sosa was the home run chase, right? Well, and let me back up. I projected this at a 9.2. So actually I overshot on this one, but I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled at a 9.0. Really, I'm not upset at all that I missed that one by a touch. So in 1997, the year before this, McGuire hit 58 bombs and Griffey hit 56. And you got to remember the record at that time was 61 by Roger Maris. And so going into the 98 season, all the speculation was about McGuire and Griffey, and one of them breaking the record. Sosa wasn't really on the radar. Okay. Let's see. Even early on in the season, it was still all McGuire and Griffey. McGuire was ahead most of the time. Let's see. He hit 16 home runs in May. So after May, McGuire had 27 home runs, and Griffey had 19. So McGuire was actually on pace for more than 80 home runs through May. That's kind of crazy. Now, in June is when Sosa really started to catch up. So Sosa had only 13 home runs coming into June. So once again, McGuire was at 27, Griffey was at 19, Sosa was only at 13. But then Sosa went nuts in June. He had 20 home runs in the month of June, which is still a record for most home runs in the month of June. So by the end of that month, he had 33 and he was tied with Griffey, and McGuire had 37. So by that time they were all kind of there. This magazine came out in July of 98. So when this magazine was printed, McGuire had 44, Griffey had 40, and Sosa had 37. So once again, it was still largely thought to be McGuire versus Griffey. Sosa really, really came on stronger in those later months. And I think there was even a really brief moment where he passed Big Mac right around when they were right around 60, I think, that Sosa even briefly passed him. Now, McGuire hit 62 first, and he also ended up with 70, whereas Sosa ended up with 66. But yeah, Griffey, people forget, Griffey was right in that home run chase for most of the season too. He finished with 56 that year. So also the home run derby happened right before this. So once again, this was the end of July. The home run derby was a couple weeks before, and Griffey won the home run derby. So McGuire competed, but he had a terrible showing. He finished fourth in the National League. He finished behind Vinny Castilla, Moises Alou, and Javi Lopez. Sosa wasn't even in the derby. And in fact, this is pretty interesting. Griffey was not supposed to be in the derby either. He had announced that he was not going to play in the home run derby, that he was not going to participate in the home run derby. The All-Star game was at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. So he was not going to do it. He took batting practice at Coors Field before the home run derby. The fans booed him. The fans booed him because they were so mad. But Griffey was the most popular player in baseball at the time. You got to think back to 1998. Griffey was the coolest. He was probably the number one most popular player. The fans booed him because they were so mad he didn't do the home run derby. So what does Griffey decide to do after he gets booed there at Coors Field, All-Star weekend? He jumps in the home run derby. I don't even think that could happen today. They've got the lineup like locked in like several weeks ahead of time. But Griffey, being the star that he is, he's just like, all right, I'm doing this. Not only does he do it, he goes out and wins the derby. So once again, kind of interesting that now, what is that? 25 years later, man, I'm getting old. 25 years later, we think of McGuire and Sosa, and that is how it was in, September, October. But Griffey was a really big part of that home run chase. And I just think that this Time magazine is really cool. So this is the only copy that's been graded. Never been another copy of this issue graded, and I got a 9.0. And obviously, since there's never been any graded, there have never been any sales. So that's it. To wrap up, we had a Pujols first cover 9.2. We had what was the second one? We had a Tiger Woods Masterpiece 9.6. We had a Michael Jordan first cover subscription 8.5 up on eBay right now. Probably going to be sold by the time you see this. Jeremy Lin first cover 9.6, and Time Magazine, Big Mac, and Griffey 9.0. All right, a lot of rambling, but I think these are fun. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and until the next time.